Let's have a little look at what the bookmakers think will happen down the bottom of the Premier League table at the end of this season. Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like your Premier League content. I must say, this is one of the most fascinating Premier League relegation battles we've ever seen. It is always more interesting around Christmas and January because the table hasn't spread out so much. But you've got to say, at the moment, there's so many teams in this mixer, and if it stays like this till the end of the season, we could have one hell of a final run-in. Do let me know your opinions down below if you support one of these teams. This isn't my prediction, this is just what the bookmakers think will happen at the bottom of the Premier League at the end of this season. Let's go from 11th and work our way down. Starting off in 11th place, the bookmakers have Aston Villa. They're not really in this conversation, but they are in the bottom half, so it's worth mentioning. Aston Villa currently sit 11th in the Premier League table. The bookmakers think they'll finish 11th at the end of the season. To be honest guys, whether Aston Villa move up or down the table from here on in, I don't think it really matters in this conversation though. The Premier League relegation battle, Aston Villa are quite clear of. I think under Unai Emery they've been very good. They've picked up some very good results, so let's move on from them quite quickly. Let's go down to 12th place, Crystal Palace, another team I don't think will be involved in this. They currently sit 12th in the Premier League table, and the bookmakers reckon they'll finish 12th at the end of the season. Quite boring from the bookmakers, but it does seem like Palace are probably going to float around mid-table for the rest of the season. They're very decent, they can pull out good results every now and then, and so long as they avoid any really bad runs this season, they're going to be another team that doesn't really need to worry about Premier League relegation this season. Let's come on to 13th place. The bookmakers have West Ham. Now this is the first notable jump in the video because West Ham currently sit in the bottom three. So the bookmakers do think West Ham will climb the highest out of this slot, and I do agree. I do think West Ham United won't go down this season, even though they are in dire straits at the moment. For West Ham to find themselves in the bottom three in January is really puzzling for me. And as I've said, I think change is really needed at West Ham, and it stems from the top in my opinion. But like I say, the bookmakers think the quality that they've got in that 11 and the squad will be enough to get them out of this at the end of the season, and I agree. West Ham should stay up. The bookmakers have them in 13th. On to 14th place, the bookmakers have placed Leicester City. They currently sit 15th in the Premier League table. It's been a very underwhelming season from them. I just don't think they've got the greatest squad this season. Yes, they've been unlucky with a couple of injuries. Like I say, James Maddison, probably their best player, he's been out for a long portion of it, and they currently are on a bad run. I think 4 Premier League defeats in a row coming into this, so they do need a good turn in form. But once again, the bookies are looking at their team and thinking they've got a bit more quality than at least 3 teams down the bottom of the Premier League this season. So Leicester City are tipped to survive, but if I was a Leicester City fan, I would be concerned about this season. And once again, could a change be needed at the top? We'll wait and see. In 15th place, the bookmakers have gone for Leeds United. Leeds United currently sit 14th, so the bookies have swapped these two over. I think Leeds United are a decent team. They currently are on a bit of a bad run as well. They were unfortunate not to get anything against Aston Villa. I do think Leeds United do play some good stuff, and they've got good players, but sometimes they just don't get the result, and it's not been many wins since the World Cup. So at the time of this video, Leeds United do only find themselves 2 points above that bottom 3, and they really need that next win pretty soon because it is all bunching up so much down there, and I think Leeds will stay up as well. The bookmakers think they'll finish 15th, so let's see if Leeds get a move on, because at the moment they're slipping towards it. Up next in 16th place is Wolverhampton Wanderers. The bookmakers have shown how fickle they can be, because just a couple of weeks ago Wolves were in that bottom 3. I tell you what though, I backed them to beat West Ham 1-0 at the weekend, and they went and did it. That was such a crucial win. I do think Wolves have got too much about them to go down. I have been really concerned for them this season, being down there in that bottom 3 for the first half of it, and they have scored the least amount of goals in the Premier League, but their defence is probably one of the best in that bottom 6, so we will give them credit for that. And on the occasions where I've seen them up against Manchester United, for example, saw them in glimpses against Villa, and I've seen their highlights against West Ham United, I do think Wolves can play some good stuff, and like I say, a decent defence is the foundation. They need to get those goals though to really push themselves away, because they are still only 2 points above that bottom 3. Up next in 17th place, we find Nottingham Forest. For the first time this season, the bookmakers think Nottingham Forest will survive Premier League relegation, but only just. I do think 17th is a bit harsh considering they're up to 13th now. I'm not sure if the bookmakers are particularly fond of Forest, but like I say, they are tipping them to just survive. I did make a video at the weekend about Nottingham Forest's win over Leicester, and that I still stand by them staying up this season. But one thing I did fail to mention was Dean Henderson's injury, which could be really costly because I think he's been such a rock at the back for them. But I still look at that team and how they're starting to gel together under Cooper after a really turbulent summer with all the change, and I think Forest will stay up. The bookies are finally starting to tip them to stay up. They've got themselves to the halfway point of the season with 20 points, so they are projecting 40 points if they do what they've done again. But if anything, I think they'll improve going into the second half of the season, because they had a slow start and they are starting to pick up some really good results, especially at home. The City Ground is turning out to be a real fortress for the away teams in the Premier League to go and get points there. So Nottingham Forest, I think they will stay up, and the bookmakers think they will as well, but only just in 17th. Up next in 18th place, the bookies have gone for Southampton. Now, the bookies did have Southampton bottom a couple weeks ago, but you can see in the last week, Nathan Jones has pulled out 3 wins out of 3. Yes, 2 of them were in cup competitions, but they were both against Premier League opposition. They knocked Palace out the FA Cup, Man City out the Carabao Cup, and that crucial win at Everton is massive. It was a 6-pointer, so absolutely massive for Southampton to pick up 3 points and to deny Everton picking up any at the same time. I've got to say, in my opinion, I do think Southampton might actually sneak out of it now. They have really improved under Nathan Jones. It took a little bit of time, but as I say, those 3 wins out of 3 is massive for them, and it'll breed confidence, and they've got big games coming. If they can pick up some big points at home as well, who knows for Southampton. One player everyone will always mention with Southampton is James Ward-Prowse, and it might be a boring narrative to always reference him when you talk about Southampton, but he got those 2 goals to beat Everton, and he is just a master at set pieces. I think I'd go as far as to say he's probably the best set piece taker in the Premier League in its history. Honestly, that kid is amazing. They have got goals in them as well. I do think if Che Adams can get on the score sheet more often, then Southampton might be able to fight their way out of this. They're showing signs that they're not the worst team in the league. Can they be better than 3 others? I think it's possible, but the bookmakers have them in 18th. Next up in 19th, the bookies have gone for Everton. Now, it is getting so toxic at Everton at the moment. It all boiled over at Goodison with the fans getting really, really angry, and you can understand that. You just don't know what the remedy is at this point. Obviously, their fans will say a big change at the top is needed, but if we just focus on the pitch with half a season to go, realistically, you look at it and think they've got to pull some players in January, because I don't think they possess much threat going forwards, and at the back, they're just so flaky. I thought it was so naive of Gordon to give that free kick away to Southampton. It just didn't show Premier League experience to me. So I'm agreeing with the bookies at the moment, and I think most people are. Everton are really on the downer, and we could see them in the Championship. I know they survived by the skin of their teeth last year, but this time it looks a whole lot worse for them. Everton are 19th in the bookmakers' eyes, and that means 20th, bottom of the table, the bookies have gone for Bournemouth. I do feel for Bournemouth. I feel like the bookies are always a bit harsh on them, but you look at their form since the World Cup, and you can't argue with what the bookies are saying here. Bournemouth are really going down. Now, despite all these defeats in a row, 1 win in their next couple of games, and things will start to look a bit better. They just haven't got that winning feeling at the moment, and they are currently just above that bottom 3. Let's remember, they're not actually in the bottom 3 at the moment. Yes, they're going in that direction, but it's not impossible Bournemouth could pull some results together and try and open up a gap, because Bournemouth have shown they're competitive. In the first half of the season, I thought they were alright, and especially when they initially changed the manager, I thought they were doing okay, but since the World Cup, it's been awful, and Bournemouth really needs something to change quickly, because the bookies have them 20th, and I find it hard to argue. So then, guys, that is the bookmakers' predictions for how the bottom half of the Premier League table will look at the end of this season. Do give me your opinions down below if you agree or disagree. It's obviously not my prediction, this is the bookmakers, but do make sure to drop a like and do make sure to subscribe if you like your Premier League content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.